Yeah, I know, you might actually be tired of these videos because all of these creators out here speaking about a potential Planet Coaster 2, and you may ask yourself, why the hell don't they stop until it is released? Well, basically, because there's more evidence, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and second of all, because we are all craving it, we need it, we want it. Because it is and was the start of the Planet franchise that we all, and I do include you guys out there in this, love and grew to play so much over the last couple of years. It started careers on YouTube, it started communities, it started everything. The whole Planet series has become something so important to us gamers that it is absolutely something we are looking forward. But hey, I talked about new evidence. Before I speak about this new evidence that you may or may not have seen or even taken part in, knowingly or not, but I'm talking about this in a second. First of all, let me get together all the evidence we already have pretty quickly. So the first thing is that we already know for over 6 years that a second Planet Coaster is or was in development. It was called Project Darwin and has been already in the works during this major leak in 2019 on 4chan, which turned out to be 95% accurate. And it was even accurate beyond the year of 2022. So there was a lot that this person, whoever leaked the content, which obviously is a very shady thing to do, but we know, and it is there and it's no secret anymore, that it was in development. So that is the first big evidence. But hey, you can say over the years, obviously, things can change. You know, Frontier didn't do too well with many other projects, so maybe they have stopped it. Well, could be, but there is obviously the point that why would they stop it if it was successful? The console release during the time was successful, the overall price trajectory of this game was successful, and so was Planet Zoo. And we also know, and that is evidence number 2, that after the release of the console edition of Planet Coaster, there was no further update on the overall game. Now we are just a couple of days ahead of the release of the console version of Planet Zoo, which may mean that Planet Zoo is going to be ended after that. So it's not a guarantee, but there's evidence for that, okay? And if we look into the schedule of these days, Planet Zoo was released just 1 year later after the last DLC of Planet Coaster. So there is a certain pattern you can start to see. But it becomes even more evident if you look at what has happened in the last couple of weeks and months. Frontier has announced not only 1, not only 2, but actually 3 creative simulation management games. These 3 games are going to be released in this year, 2024, in 2025 and 2026. That is already guaranteed. It's officially stated by Frontier themselves in their annual reports. So we have a lot of evidence that there is going to be another game in the Planet area, or maybe in the Jurassic World area, because that technically is also a CMS game. But what I'm talking about is that there are many points coming together showing that there is a chance. And now I know this is maybe the weakest of all the evidences, but still there is a good evidence. Frontier wasn't doing too well on the money side of things, and Frontier wasn't going to be doing too well with other projects that are not in their core, what they can do and what they can deliver. So what did they do? Basically, they focused on refocusing. And again, that is something we know for certain because that, again, was in their annual report. They were saying, okay, after all these problems, we will be now refocusing on what we can do best. And that is CMS games. And what they can do the very best, and this is where we're going to the last and the newest of the evidences. And I think this, for me personally, this is the final piece of the puzzle that brings it together, that now I'm very certain, very certain that one of these 3 CMS games is going to be Planet Coaster 2. And this evidence is the recent survey that Frontier has done. Now, because I did this relatively quickly on my phone, I didn't capture anything, and now the survey is closed, I can only use some footage, or actually I do use a screenshot of the wonderful Aston. I have linked him in the channel, in the description down below, and you can see the screenshot on the screen is from him, so, every credit given there. And you can see in this screenshot, and this is why I included that, they asked for certain games of Frontier that you have played. And in the further survey, they ask you specifically about these games. What do you like the most about the games? Are you more into DLCs with rides, or like for specifically for Planet Coaster, they did ask you, would you love to have more content for either roller coasters, flat rides, mascots, or scenery pieces? They did the same also for Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution, by the way. However, and the interesting bit about this is, from all the games they ask questions about, only one game is not in development anymore, and that is Planet Coaster. The other games are technically and practically all still alive. So, for example, Jurassic World Evolution, we know that there will someday be a new DLC. For Planet Zoo, there will be a new DLC. Eventually, we know that for certain. So, knowing that is somehow very interesting, because I think we can all agree that they will not all of a sudden drop a new DLC for Planet Coaster 1. They will not do this 6 years after they have done the last one. That is absurd, and also, like, you wouldn't do that. It's absolutely weird. So, what would they do? Why would they ask about a game that is effectively not in the works anymore for them? Why would they ask this about the game? It makes no sense, because otherwise they would have also asked this for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which they didn't. So, this is very interesting. So why would you? And I mean, the only answer is because there is going to be a Planet Coaster 2, and I think rather soon. Because if you ask this now, you obviously cannot talk about unannounced games. See? If, for example, let's just fantasize a little bit over here. Let's say there is going to be a Planet Hotel and going to be a Planet City. Let's say these are the two others. You obviously cannot include that in a survey, because you would effectively leak that you're going to announce them. So that doesn't make any sense. But with all the other games they asked about, and this game specifically, it is absolutely clear that they're going to do something with this info. And obviously, if they're going to release the game around November, as they always do, there is still enough time to take the results of that survey for the DLCs that they will bring out later of the game, because they will most likely do the same technique as always, like release the game and have 4 DLCs a year, just as we know. So that is a very, very interesting and spicy bit, if you ask me. And I am very curious to see what the next Frontier unlock will bring. They have already said that we will love the game in the first unlock. They haven't really said anything about this in the second one. So I'm very curious to hear about this. Maybe it's going to be in this one. They said in one of the next ones. So it's not like in a later one. They said in one of the next ones. So I really hope that maybe at the end of March we can already hear about this. But what do you think? Are you now more convinced that a Planet Coaster 2 is on the horizon? Or are you still not convinced? And if not, please let me know why you're not. And if you're not the type of coaster guy, then what would you love to have as a new, creative simulation game from Frontier? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I see you in the next video. This next week is going to be packed, so keep your eyes on the channel. And thank you so much for watching. I talk to you in the next one. Have a lovely, lovely time. And oh, by the way, if you have never played Planet Coaster and you watched this video till this point, check out Instant Gaming. Get the old game. It's almost for free. It's really not that expensive. Just get the base game and get yourself used to Planet Coaster to really judge if you like the game or not, because it still is a pretty great game. So check the link in the description and check out Planet Coaster if you haven't already. And I'm very curious. Also, little sneak peek for those of you who stick with me till this part. There is going to be a full Planet Coaster mini-series on the channel soon. I'm not going to tell more about this right now, but it's in the works, and as soon as I'm done, I'll release a couple of episodes on this. So it's going to be very exciting, and I'll work with someone else, so that is enough spoiler for now. Thank you so much, and I talk to you in the next one. Goodbye!